We got paid 1 million naira, $5,000. That same day we sent the API. The next day, I just called every single person that was working with me and I said, guys, we're no longer a payments company, we're now a verification company. And from the first week of 2021 till now, we never looked back. We finished the first year and we almost made 100 million naira. You need to raise a ton of money to change education. If you want to change people's mindset about something, especially something that they are culturally accustomed to. Don't,
It's
we
not the
saw,
way to go
it's not the
from
way
the
to go. We saw
beginning.
what M-Pesa did in Kenya. People use USSD. Just build around USSD. You saw what Money Point is doing. Like literally, just if people say, "I want my brand, your brand to be blue," just change it to blue. Don't argue. If you want to convince them that white is better than blue, you need to probably raise a ton of money. And sometimes in our clients, you don't have that luxury.
That luxury. Mm.
So what we did was to say, you know what, we're going to raise money to convince and all that. But thank God we didn't do that. But the second thing was, how can we verify people at the point of checkout? That was how we moved to Prembly. We reached out to almost every single company. MoneyPoint was one of those companies we reached out to because we had friends back then there.
Mm.
And we said, how do you verify customers and all and everybody? And people were like, well, with the kind of use case we had, there was nobody doing it in real time, the kind of way we wanted to do it. There were a few players that were doing it, some I would not. And so I got to the office that day and I looked at my co-founder and I said, why don't we just do this in ourselves? Let's just verify people now.
Hang on, Larry. Hang on, Larry.
Yes.
Are you telling me that all of this you're doing, you are still working with Accountier?
Oh yes.
Oh,
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. I was still working. I was still hitting my KPIs. I was still meeting my sales targets. And usually here's what we do. So we get to the office very early. Very early. I'm talking about as early as 6 we're in the office, and we do all we're supposed to do, right? And people leave the office by 5 typically, and we stay back. Myself, my co-founder typically leave the office around 10 p.m. And so what we typically do after that is literally just after that, right? And we're also very much open with our boss, by the way. We did let him know, right? That we're thinking of this particular thing. And maybe he was very open to it because he was a Belgian, he was a Belgian guy, he was an European. So maybe he understood the concept of people not shunning. And right now I do it. I don't shun my employees when they have big ideas, right? Just know when to do it. Know that it shouldn't affect your day job. It shouldn't affect your KPIs. If how you do it, where you do it is left to you. And then we did more of these things over the weekend, by the way. So every single Saturday morning, we meet each other in our houses, and that's what we do, right? So we never did allow it to affect. So we didn't do it in secrets. We didn't. We was quite open with our boss. We did let him know. We'll do it after work hours, but we never did let it to affect anything we're doing. Um, and 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 because you won't blame me. We didn't had we're not from the richest of homes, so
you still need to survive.
we still need to survive. We still need to make ends meet. Ideas can only come when you've eaten. When you've not eaten, where's the ideas coming from? Um,
I
so
agree. I've been there.
and when people tell me right now, and I go to conferences and people are saying that how can I come up with ideas? And I say, are you hungry? If you're hungry, go eat first.
Go find something to
Um,
eat.
and well, just from joking, because some ideas have come from you being hungry. By the way, people who have been hungry and like, how can I feed myself right? And so people have fed themselves from being
Some
hungry.
ideas like that. Mm.
Some ideas, but some very innovative ones. You need to eat, sit back, and say, what is the biggest problem I'm facing right now, and how can I solve it? But that's so. But going back to it, so we did. So no one was doing it, right? So we did our solution to verify our own customers. December 2020, one of the businesses that we reached out to got back to me and said, Larry, were you able to solve this? And I said, yes. And they said, please, can you send us the API? I remember I was doing the API during Christmas and New Year. And by January 2nd or 3rd, we sent the APIs to them. The next day, they sent $5,000, which was around 1 million naira that day back then. Yeah, Nigerian business. And we could allow them to verify their customers using bank verification number. and that was it.
So that means as at that time, your system is already plugged into the database of BVN or NIMC or whatever.
Yeah, but this time around through this partner, remember that we connected to through this bank
Yes, the
and all that. Yeah,
Damagog guys and all
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't Tamalog exactly, but do this way like
Whatever
maybe
infrastructure they
consultants
built.
to consultant to Tamalog. And by this time, by the way, by the time we were very serious with the testing, and by that December, we had already left account. I had already left account. I had already resigned, right, to take the risk. So and also so that I need to put this out there so that people they don't stay in the bubble of being too cautious of taking risk. I literally already resigned before we finalized all our testing, before we got our customers, before we were done with the product. By the time when I was in the company was when it was still more of an idea stage and formation and build up. The moment we were done, is it the time when we did that test? That that the test we did, that was when I resigned. I was just going to take a bet, and because I was like, if I'm going to go to people's offices and say this is going to work, but I'm still in the comfort of a safe nest. It doesn't sound right to me. It doesn't sit right to me. It's almost as if I'm not betting on myself. So let me take the risk. So I left. I resigned, and so the months that led to that was me surviving on all the savings that I had, surviving on family support, surviving on every single thing that I could get. Right. I was doing. I would do some contract job as well to be able to just sustain myself. And so that's how I was able to navigate that entire process. But yeah, but that's it. So we got paid 1 million naira, $5,000. That same day we sent the API. The next day, I just called every single person that was working with me and I said, guys, we're no longer a payments company, we're now a verification company. Because we never saw that coming. We never saw that coming, like I said. And from the first week of 2021 till now, we never looked back. We finished the first year and we almost made 100 million naira in the first year. We're like, wow. It was, like I said, accidental. It was because the moment we saw that one company needed that verification, we just went on to other business and said, wait, we spoke to this guy, they needed this verification. We just did this API. What do you need? And they were like, okay, no, yeah, send us the API. And we just sent them the API. And we just went to send the API. And before you know, we just hired. Finished our first year, we raised and we just said, you know what? When we knew we had significant funding, I'm sorry, significant revenue, we just went on to do a funding. We raised about $350,000. Month later, we're like, okay, let's apply to YC. We got into YC. YC gave us about $500,000. We're done with YC. Raised about $2.8 million, and we just kept on from then on, right? So that's it. Accidental. Not it wasn't. I didn't think about doing verification, but let me say, the interest of verification and this infrastructure came in after the first few weeks of that of oh, something is here. Then I started to see that there are over 1 billion people globally with no form of ID. 81% of that number stays in sub-Saharan Africa. I started to see that. So even though I was within that premise, even though I was within that premise of problem, I didn't see it. And many of us are sometimes within the law of dysfunctional things around us, but we don't see because we've not really witnessed it. It was until after someone opened my eyes to verification because I needed verification for my own payment system, right? That was when I saw that when I'm in Nigeria and I want to open a PayPal account, I can't open a PayPal account because I'm in Nigeria. That's when I saw that wait, I can't Amazon. I can't seem to sell on Amazon because they can't verify me. That was when I started to now become conscious of why can't I so many streaming platforms as I back then we're not allowing Nigerians to stream because they can't pay. Till today, so many streaming platforms, people cannot use their credit card to pay. They can't even access it. They have to share passwords and all that, right? And that was when I started to live in that consciousness of, okay, this is massive. This is big. And then I started to read to say, so many African countries are still disconnected. I take my Ghanaian passport to Nigeria to open a bank account. I can't open it because the Nigerian bank cannot verify a Ghanaian passport. And so I have to go and meet my embassy. My embassy needs to write something. Today, if you go to South Africa with a Nigerian identification, I can't do it. If you travel all the way to UK, you have to change to the local identification. You're still the same person. What do you have to do? And so we just said, you know what? We're going to connect all these dots. And literally, that's what we've been doing since then on.
It means you're going to be busy for a very long time to come
Oh,
because
we will be busy. We'll be busy. We know it's going to be challenging. It's been challenging, by the way. It's been interesting. We know it's going to be a lot of ups and downs. We've gone through, the eras of what you called a value of debt in startups. We know there's the value of debt in the future. That's what the ups and downs of business. And we're also going to keep getting busy. But the idea is to connect the dots around identities, around data, around security. And so the vision started to grow bigger and bigger from then on. So we started from just doing payments, switched on to let's solve it for ourselves. Somebody just said, you know what, can I give it? We received it, and we said, can we just double that effect? Right. And so we said, okay, how big can this get? How can we now begin to help governments? Before we know it, we were in Sierra Leone, we were in Namibia, helping the government in Namibia create their digital identity infrastructure. Before we know it, we were powering, I don't know if you know 3MTT in Nigeria. This under this current government.
no, I don't know them.
They,
Yeah.
they want to train 3 million Nigerians on tech and all that, and we were, powering it.
As part of the
Um,
initiative of the minister of okay
yeah, the current minister of technology, I've
of
forgotten
tech.
the
Yeah, yeah,
portfolio right now.
yeah.
And we were going from so many countries, and we're seeing so many countries reaching out to us to say, can you help us create uh, the digital infrastructure framework? And literally, that was how the ball snowballed. So I would summarize it to say, you don't have to see the you. It's fine not to see the future. It's fine not to point it out. Do you see now? Just stick to now. It has a way. Steve Jobs did the reverse. He did say that when you look back, you can see the dots connecting. Right. Just trust that. Trust it. We are currently on podcast, right? You don't know if this is going to snowball into a TV at some point and all that. So the idea is always just stay hungry, and that's the whole idea. The whole idea of entrepreneurship is to stay hungry. Never say, "Oh, now we have enough customers. Oh, now we have enough team members. Oh, now we have enough revenue. Oh, now we have." Just remain hungry. The same hunger. Even though it's difficult by then, I'm not saying this because it's been easy for me as well. It's difficult to remain humble and hungry, and humble from a perspective of, and I'm saying humble from a not the personal egos and that, but business will teach you how to be humble. Like business will humble you. You would think you will you would think you have the next salary for the next 1 year, and something's going to happen, and you get one regulatory letter, and you get one, the economy just going to crumble, and you will literally say that, hey,
And crisis overnight.
how can I,
Yeah.
things of that. So you need to literally be humble to say, I don't know this. As even the biggest business leaders, from Dangote to the Jeff Bezos and all that, you just have to still look at data and let data teach you. So from an humble perspective, look at your data trends and see what's the economy going to look like, what's the customer acquisition cost looks like, and literally be humble enough for that data to teach you. Right. I've come across a lot of entrepreneurs like myself. I'm saying like myself in terms of the tech ecosystems and all that. That you they can go against the number. The numbers do not lie. If the number says people don't do subscriptions in developing countries, they don't do subscriptions. There's nothing you can. If you build softwares where people have to subscribe, they don't do subscriptions. They don't do subscriptions. They may be able to do transaction. We are very transactional, right? We are very. I want to withdraw 1,000 naira. I can give 100 naira, like you said. Like you are very. But I won't pay 10 naira every month to be able to withdraw for free. People just there's
But
just
it's not just our thing. We
it's not
don't
a
we
thing.
don't like it. Yeah, I
But when
agree.
you flip it to developed countries, flip it to Europe, flip it to UK, flip it to US, people naturally pay for subscription. Like it's just easy for them, right?
I totally agree with you. Is the reason And I say this, it will come across to you as funny, but it's the reason why some of us, our Amazon Prime, we cancel it
Mhm.
in and out, right? We cancel if I don't feel like I want to shop something, right? I'm going to be making it.
Amazon Prime, LinkedIn, Netflix. You just leave it there. You just remove
When
your
I
card.
need it, I do it.
You
When I
remove
do
your
it,
card.
it's not
But
just
you see
that.
some people that have never been to LinkedIn, Europeans, they naturally just. It's because it's even stressful to remove and
It's a
yeah.
cultural thing for Africans, yeah, for
Um,
especially
yeah, so just
sub-Saharan.
have to remain humble and
Hmm.
let the data and let the market teach you. A lot of us, and we are very emotional people as the way our consumer categories. Some people because their parents use the bank, they use it. Some people because of a color, so just let the markets and just remain hungry.
Larry, thanks a lot, right? As a matter of fact, I'm just lost, right? Because bringing it all together,
Hmm.
right? You wanted to provide a payment solution, make
Yes,
people's life easy,
yes,
right? See it or touch it, and your payment is that's what you want set
yeah,
out to do, right?
yes.
And I dare say that that is that is a very viable solution. It will make people's life easier.
Till
But
now, even right
till,
now,
till tomorrow, right? It will make
yes,
people's life easier. It's just it seems to come way ahead of its time. People are not
yes,
ready for it, and people are still not ready for it, right?
yes,
At least in
yes,
certain climes.
yes,
But one way or the other, one thing led to the other, right?
yes,
And you encountered a problem in the
yes.
process of running that, and that led you into okay, maybe we need to do our own identity thing, and that
Mhm.
identity thing
Became the main thing.
became the
Became the
main
main thing.
thing.
Accidentally, yeah, became the main thing, and we started to do change of name. So we changed the name from Identity Pay to Identity Pass. Today we have Identity Pass as a product. Then we said, wait, Identity Pass is a little bit limiting because it's like identity and pass. What if now we want to do background checks? Now we want to do anti-money laundering screening. Now we want to do compliance. Can we introduce a new brand that is big enough that means nothing? The three criteria that I gave
Yeah.
earlier, and that was it. And we just introduced Prembly and we retained Identity Pass as a brand under Prembly, as a
On the
product under Prembly. And that's how those are the three names we've called ourselves. So Identity Pay, Identity Pass, and Prembly.
Interesting. Man, thanks for sharing that because when I had this. By the way, Sefa was the first person that I had this interview with. Right? I don't know if you have spoken to him in recent past, Sefa, right? And he shared a similar story, right? That they started with something, and in the course of doing that, they realized that okay, yeah, that wasn't bad, but there's something even better, right? And I was having another interview with another lady called Tony Sanwo, right? She leads an outfit called Driver here in Nigeria, it's a logistics outfit. And then they started with taxi hailing kind of service. Now they're into logistics. It looks like that is a pattern. You start with something, and in the course of doing it, you will kind of just stumble into an opportunity bigger than what you initially envisaged.
The only very few percentage of ideas or businesses that started as what they wanted to do and retained. YouTube was not a video. They didn't start off as a video streaming platform. I can't remember. Maybe it was a dating platform or something like that. It started with yeah, either dating or gaming. I can confirm that, but it wasn't. It was nothing to do with video. Yeah, and we can fact check that. I can't really remember, but a lot of businesses that I know, Uber, a lot of businesses that we've come to know right now that are now home name did not start as what they wanted to start with, which I agree with the concept of just start wherever you are. Just if what you want to do is start from wherever you are, but like I said, be very from a religious standpoint, they'll call or from a Christian standpoint, they call it the Holy Spirit, right? Be very observant, or be
Sensitive to what's going on around.
sensitive. From those that are not Christian and are not religious, you just call it maybe intuition or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit that you need in the old business ham is your consumers and your customers.
What are they telling you?
If you speak to five people, if you speak to five people and they tell you point blank, especially like I said, Don't speak to those that cannot tell you no. Speak to those that literally will look into your face. They don't have any emotional connection to you, and they'll tell you exactly what
Absolutely.
it is. And they tell you that, and you want to sell. Let's say you want to sell groceries, and they say, "I don't need groceries. I need someone that will massage my legs.
Mm.
Just massage their legs. Don't force it, because there will be hundreds of people like that. There'll be thousands of people like that. I get, as entrepreneurs and as business owners, we're very emotional people. In my hierarchy of emotional people, right? Entrepreneurs rank very high. Investors rank very high. Many of us sometimes we buy stocks because we think a business will fall or a business will fail, whatever it is, right? Politicians are very emotional. Apart from the fact that we're all emotional beings, entrepreneurs are very emotional. Even though there's a very thin line between being emotional about your idea. You say that it's not going to work. You say that, but you feel like no, and very dogged and very stubborn about it. So sometimes when you have to prove people wrong. Sometimes when you have to, when nobody's saying it, you're like, I know this would work, right? But there's a very thin line between when the person that is meant to pay for it says this will not work.
You need to be discerning to know when to.
To switch away
Yeah,
from it.
yeah.
And the thin line comes when, if it's within your team, if right now we're a team member, right, and I say that this podcast would work, and you're saying it won't work, it's fine. We can argue it, and both of I can insist to say it's going to work. Let's go ahead with it.
Mm.
But when the listeners says this is not going to work, just leave it. Right. Just leave it.
Mm.
Just leave it the way it is. So literally that's a thin line. And that's where
Brilliant.
sometimes entrepreneurs needs to stop being emotional and listen to the customers and
To the
listen to the business.
consumers.
And like what you're saying, every single business, and I have the stats, but a lot of businesses transition. It's called pivoting, just pivot from
Yeah,
one to another thing.
pivot into something.
Yeah.
This is so helpful. This is so helpful, Larry. Thanks a lot for sharing it.
Yeah.
Now, we don't have a lot of time, right?
I,
But I really want you to you touch on something the other time, right? And I wanted to touch a bit more about it before we go, right? It's around the and you've shared a little bit of story around the role of people,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Now, I will take this and I will bundle it into I'll take like three questions, I'll bundle it into one and then
Okay.
tackle them as you deem fit, right? So you shared the very inspiring story of how you basically that woman just basically became like a part
Yes.
of your support system or you are part of our support system, right?
Initially, yes, then we flipped.
Initially, and then it became reversed, right? Because
Yeah.
at some point you spoke to her and you're like, the dots connected and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, what do you do in building that kind of support system, right?
Yeah.
You've shared a little bit of your story and all that. So, but what do you do? Is there a way you can be a bit more intentional, especially as an entrepreneur? Because
Yeah.
I've
Yes.
heard that this journey can be lonely, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How do we ensure that we don't run crazy, right? Before we hit
You-
before we we get to that point. Number two is sorry, just a quick question. Like, how many people do you have in your organization now?
So right now we've expanded to as much as 40 staff.
40 spread
Yes.
across the world.
Spread across the world. Yes.
40 people. Now, that is a huge organization, right? How do you maintain your sanity in ensuring that they are all working towards delivering the objective, the goals, and all of that in terms of what are the people practices that you have?
Hmm.
You understand? So that is second question. One is about support system, which is
Yeah.
mentors, mentees, and all of that. Number two is what are your people practices, right? To ensure that everybody in the organization is working towards the objective that the board is setting. And then I guess the final one, still on people and maintaining our sanity, will be around how you maintain balance, family, and all of that,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
3 1, and then we'll
Okay.
go to the next one. Hopefully, we'll be able to.
Good. Thanks. One, the support system, I would always say, as entrepreneurs, like you say, it's very lonely. It's one of the loneliest. It's very lonely. There's no other way to say it. And it's not a. It, when people say it's very lonely, it really is. And it's not to scare people away, but it's literally to just prepare people and prepare your expectation. So the first thing you want to do is to create the right support system around you. Have the right people that can, that you can speak with. Things are not, have people that you can be vulnerable with. One. Number two, and this is when you're setting up your support system, right? Have at least one or two people that you can be vulnerable with. And vulnerable in every sense of it. In I am tired, I am weak, I am lost, I'm confused, I am hungry, I am pissed. Every sense of emotion you can vividly share as a human being, you have them. They could be your life partners, they may not be, they could be a friend, but just have it. Um, number no, as part of the support system, have one or two people also that you can be accountable with. The concept of being an entrepreneur and being a founder, sometimes we a lot of founders shy away from being accountable. The whole concept of having a board sometimes is to be accountable, right? But for small businesses, sometimes you don't need a board. A lot of people don't get a board until maybe you get like, you start making like $10 million or a lot more or something like that. But be intentional about being have one or two people within your support system that you're accountable with. They didn't ask you, but just tell them. Um, we did Hex number this month. We're trying to do 2x next quarter. Don't bombard them with too many information, but just someone that you can respect a little bit their ideas and all that. And I think maybe another one or two person or maybe one person that you can bounce ideas with. Just ideas of because as entrepreneurs, we always have this crazy. We want to do this, we want to do that, we want to do this, we want to do that, and just have someone that can just listen to you and just say, okay,
Come back home.
man, okay, you're going too far. This was the idea. We said we wanted to do verification, so stick to verification. Don't
Mm,
start doing, just literally be there. Or is the reverse for some people. Some people are good in execution, but they're very poor idea people. I've seen
mm,
entrepreneurs that do not have the best ideas, but they can literally execute, right? And so sometimes you need one or two people in your support system that can give you that idea because you have some people that are the idea people, but they don't know how to execute. They don't even know how to take the risk, right? So you need one or two people like that where they can just say, now you're doing verification. Why don't you do enrollment? Why don't And they just give it us a very subtle. To them, it's very small, but yeah. So that's how to build. Now, how to come about them, and I'll say that very quickly. How to come about them is just be selfless. Don't just be selfless with. So, and by the way, when I was helping this particular customer back then, she wasn't the only one I was helping. She wasn't the only one I would go meet and help set up, right? So don't help people or just be human. Being human
in
means
hope that one day something,
yeah,
something.
if it comes back, it comes back. If it doesn't come back, it's normal. It's not. But in building up the support system, I would say, these things I've said, this you can be vulnerable with, this you can, the respect, their ideas and all that, and that's it. And that could be anybody. It could be your sibling, it could be those around you, it could be those not around you. It could be even be a random stranger. It could be someone like you, someone just maybe goes on your podcast right now and come at me and say, you know, hi Kunle, can I have a chat with you? Can I have you as my support system? And if you're available, that's it. Um, on the two other topics that you did mention, the staff, yes, we do. And by the way, we our staff numbers, there was a time when it was tweeting. There was a time we did a merger with a company, and our staff strength was going close to 100. By the way, because they had a very large staff strength and all that, and then we dissolved the merger. And so the how and the second question around team management, team leadership, that in itself, it's completely different from entrepreneurship, in my own view. You have amazing founders, people that have ideas, but they are terrible leaders. Because somehow in the school of entrepreneurship, leadership is not. When I don't know if you've seen, if you've heard people, those that work with Steve Jobs or have written about them, they will tell you he wasn't the best boss.
People, yeah, Alento.
At some point, he had to be fired and brought
Yeah,
back. It wasn't the best
from his own
people.
company.
Yeah, it wasn't the best people person. But of course, you can't take away how brilliant he is. You can't take away
Yeah.
his genius. You can't take away the impact he has made in this world, right? if people tell you other founders and how, I don't want to, but no, we've seen cases of even people saying, what's his name? This Tesla founder,
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. People also complain about he's not the best people kind of person. But you can't take away what Starlink is doing. You can't take away what. So what I would say is, people management is a completely different conversation. I would always encourage entrepreneurs to take the time, learn it. You make mistakes. You hire the wrong people. You would you not know how to set up your KPIs and all that, right? The best thing you can do for yourself, the best thing you can do for yourself is having somebody, almost like your operations person or someone that can withstand the pressure and the energy that you bring in, and they can easily diffuse it across the team.
Hey, thanks a lot for taking the time to watch the podcast. We are super thankful for you taking that time and investing the time to learn. We hope that you find the story inspiring, and beyond that, that you've been able to articulate one or two things that you want to do differently in your own entrepreneurial journey. May I encourage you to please like, subscribe, comment, and please share the word within your own circle of influence, especially within those that you think are on the same entrepreneurial journey with you. May I also encourage you to please, beyond subscribing to our YouTube channel, follow us on our other social media platforms. That means a lot to us, and we can see that that helps us to track that we're making some progress and so making some impact. Thanks a lot once again for taking the time to watch, and to see you on the next episode.